want to share with you some video that we have just captured from a couple of moments ago. President Trump, on his first foreign visit, he chose Saudi Arabia. That's where he is at this moment. You see here, this just happened a couple of minutes ago, as King Salman there of Saudi Arabia placing a medal of sorts over President Trump's head. And we know that Melania, of course, First Lady, is accompanying him, as is Ivanka, his daughter, and his senior advisor to the president, Jared Kushner, also his son-in-law. You can see the plethora of photographers that are there. Rex Tillerson, I believe, Secretary of State, we also saw him in the crowd as well. And here they are, leaving to go to a meeting. This was the official coffee ceremony that we saw. What is really going to be watched closely is what happens tomorrow, as the president will address 50 Muslim leaders. And according to the National Security Advisor, General H.R. McMaster, the leaders of the Muslim countries will be hearing a speech, and the topic will be the need to confront radical ideology and the president's hope for a peaceful vision of Islam to dominate across the world. Let's bring in Nick Robertson. He is there in Riyadh. And Nick, let's talk about not only what we're happening today, but the intention for this speech tomorrow and the significance of it.
Yeah, the intention is to deliver a message, a nuanced message, one of respect, but that the leaders listening to President Trump, and this is what he will explain to them, should and need to communicate to their faithful, the people of their countries, Muslim, Arab, regional leaders, that Islam is a faith of peace and tolerance, and that's what he'll be communicating to them. And certainly that is what we've been hearing from, from government spokesmen here. We've certainly heard it from people on the street. But I have to say, just looking at those pictures of how the room was arranged and where everyone sat, because of that is so key in figuring out, who's in, who's out, who's powerful. But look at the way that they were sitting there having the coffee. You have King Salman, and on his right-hand side you've got President Trump. On the king's left-hand side, Melania. Sitting next to Melania, you have the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Nayef, the Interior Minister, the second most powerful man in the country, if you will. After him, on his other side, you had Rex Tillerson, followed by the Deputy Crown Prince, the King's son, Prince Mohammed bin Salman. You had the main power players in the country. The King with President Trump on one side, Melania Trump on the other side. And on the other side of President Trump, Ivanka and Jared Kushner sitting there again with other leading Saudi royals, with the others in both entourages sitting down the sides of the room. A huge room. The amount of time that the king is giving to President Trump here, the amount of time they're spending together, the length of even these photo opportunities that we're seeing, the detail that we're seeing, the amount of time they're walking around these palaces together. We don't normally get this much. The Saudis don't normally provide this much insight and this much time, particularly for a king with a visiting U.S. president. So this is a very symbolic in the way that it's managed, in the way that we're getting an insight into the importance of the way that the Saudis are treating this. But absolutely, as you say, that message on Saturday in front of 50 or more regional Muslim and Arab leaders, very, very important in the way that it's nuanced. We heard from the Malaysian Prime Minister, who's written for a newspaper here in Saudi Arabia. The Malaysian Prime Minister, a key player and a key person, will be listening to President Trump tomorrow. He sees this as an opportunity. President Trump's opportunity is to take the Western and Arab Muslim relationship to a new level. And he said it's very clear that we must communicate to our people that terrorism is not Islam. There is no place for terrorism. So certainly what President Trump is hoping to say and what is expected to say is being amplified and reciprocated by the leaders who will be attending. And again, this is something that President Trump wants. This is the message he's delivering. We need to separate out the good from the evil, the terrorism from Islam, and that's what we're expecting to hear, a nuanced version.
Nick, you gave us such a great sense of what was happening in this coffee ceremony in terms of the seating placements and the time that has been given publicly that we're able to watch here together. Talk to us about the intention of that. Why would King Salman want to be so public with all of this? Is it attached to, we cannot forget, the proposed arms deal between the two countries?
Absolutely. There's business, there's politics. If we look at the regional politics, the Saudis want President Trump in the United States to strongly back them against Iran. They think they've got a kindred spirit in President Trump there, certainly judging by what is said on the campaign trail. They want and believe that he can, because he's a president that operates outside the box, doesn't always listen to his advisors, that he can perhaps shift the dial a bit on the Israeli-Palestinian peace. That's a rather large hope, if you will, but the foreign minister described President Trump in that context as courageous, that he might deliver something there. We're certainly going to hear a lot of praise has heaped on President Trump, but yes, the business part of it. Look, the Saudis looked at what President Obama did during the Arab Spring and the nuclear deal with Iran as upsetting the balance in the region. They felt that the United States didn't support its regional allies here in the way that it used to, that they would have to stand on their own. They'd invested hugely in defense and security. They're now the world's third largest defense and security spender. 21% of their budget next year will be spent on weapons and defense. So their defense contracts with the United States are bigger than with any other country around the world, and that will be a key part of what we can expect to be a number of business deals that could be signed while President Trump is here. But it doesn't matter which administration. The Saudis have been coming and buying weapons for the United States for a long time. It's a competitive market, and the Saudis themselves, the Deputy Crown Prince says he wants the Saudis to develop their own weapons industry, and who will they turn to for the expertise and help in doing that? That will also likely be the United States. So there's a lot at stake, not just now, not just today, not just next year, but in the years going forward. That's what President Trump hopes to get a stake in as well, and that's what is potentially on the table as he meets with the King and the King's immediate deputies.
All right, Nick, hold on, if you will, for us. I want to bring in Alex Pappas. He's the Washington Examiner's breaking news editor. And Alex, you heard Nick sort of break it down there. Let's remember the kind of falling out that the previous administration had. In part, it was over the Iran nuclear deal. It was also over the war that Saudi Arabia is waging in Yemen at this time. And where does Trump stand, this administration, when it comes to that particular conflict?
Yeah, well, and I think, the question of why would the King, be so interested in talking to Trump? Obviously, he sees the ability for a reset here with the new administration. And so, and it's interesting even, by the way, to see some of the details of the things that they're going out of the way to try to make Trump comfortable, including having like well-done steak with ketchup on the side to make Trump as comfortable as he can. So they obviously can try to talk about these issues and push him on the things that they want to change. This is no easy thing for Trump coming in on a big trip like this, and that's not even just because of the scandals that are back home that he's having to deal with. Any president, any politician that goes overseas, I mean, there's so many delicate sort of things you have to deal with, and just accidentally offending your host could completely trample on any sort of message that you have. Obviously, the White House has a message that they want. It's going to be, I think, pretty difficult considering everything in the world that's going on for them to be able to push that.
All righty. Hey, Alex, do stand by. Stay with us here. Nick will as well. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment as you look at live pictures from Saudi Arabia of President Trump's first foreign trip.